like the role or the
Huh?
amount of emotion that needed to go into the character until I literally kind of showed up. And that's just the truth. Like I remember working with Robert the first day. We were doing like little readings, like kind of a rehearsal type of thing, just kind of talking notes. And I remember thinking like, what did I get myself into? Because like I don't know if I could do it.
Rob, I talked to you a couple years ago on the movie you did with Boo Boo, the haunted house date.
I remember. I remember. It's good
Well,
to
I
see you
love that
again.
movie. It was so much fun. So
Thank you.
now you deal with AI. I was
Yeah.
wondering, what are your guys' thoughts on AI? It's like this is such a polarizing conversation. Like, first, I'm going to ask you this: if you had to implant an AI to use to kind of navigate your life, like Frankie's character does his mom, who would you pick in your life to navigate that AI? I'm going to start with you, Rob.
Oh
I mean,
man.
for me, I think it'd be James Bond, you know? You gotta like
Oh, nice.
gotta
See, he's
make
got a
every
good answer, but I don't think I would implement any AI into me. You know what I mean? I'm kind of terrified of the how fast technology is evolving, and I don't know. I'll stay all just natural. I'll talk to humans. You know what
I
I mean? I
like that.
don't.
Yeah, it's better that we engage instead of a robot on this side talking to you guys. So,
Exactly, exactly.
Rob, how did you come up with this idea? Is this something you had in the making for a few years or a while, this script? And when you brought Frankie back into film, okay, that's a big deal in itself. He's been out of the film game in a while, so that's two birds with one stone.
Yeah, I mean, I somebody brought me the script. It was Luke and Martin Medina who initially penned and came up with the idea, and I got involved, helping kind of build the emotional core around it. And then casting director Pat McCorkle had this amazing idea of casting Frankie, and we were like, brilliant, brilliant, and fantastic that Frankie
Why
liked.
did you think I could do it? I never asked you that. Why did you
Good
think that I
question.
could play this role? You're crazy.
You
There
did
was
it
never
well.
any
I mean,
doubt in my mind. Never any doubt. I mean, I think the other thing too is like, and you saw this with Boo Boo on Those Who Walk Away, is like
yeah.
the relationships with the actors. I mean, I don't tell this to all the other department heads, but like when I start working with the actors, like that's what brings me to life. Like that's the fun part. That's the great part. And I was confident that we would strike a rapport and the work that Frankie did is phenomenal. Is like really fun. Everybody who sees the film is like, what? Like the
Uh-huh.
performance is out of this world. And it's a hard one because he's in almost every single scene. Maybe one, two scenes he's not in, right? A
Frankie, was
90-minute
it daunting?
movie and it's back to back with it's a hard thing and killed it. Killed it.
Frankie, I mean, you've already established another profession too as a driver now. Was it kind of daunting? Did you have like maybe some maybe second thoughts in a way coming back to it, being featured like Rob said so much in a movie? What were sort of your thoughts initially racing through your head?
100%. I was actually really nervous. I loved the script and I was just excited about the like being a part of the movie. It didn't really hit me like the role or the
Huh?
amount of emotion that needed to go into the character until I literally kind of showed up. And that's just the truth. Like I remember working with Robert the first day. We were doing like little readings, like kind of a rehearsal type of thing, just kind of talking notes. And I remember thinking like, what did I get myself into? Because like I don't know if I could do it. Because I
Mm,
hadn't done anything like that. I'd done some drama. I'd done some, there's a movie I did a few years ago that was a little dark, but nothing like this. And
mm.
I remember being nervous, even working with Violet and Taylor, they were so good. I remember feeling like almost intimidated by them, which in those scenes it worked because my character is intimidated by them initially, right? And but I don't know. I pulled out emotion I didn't know I had in me, and I even got to the point where I had a hard time distinguishing like real life from the movie. Like when I leave the
Wow.
set and go back to the where we were staying, just because like it brought so much out of me, and I not that I tried to stay in it, but like it was easy to stay in it because I was having like these my own personal thoughts mixing in with the character, and I've never had that before as an actor, so it was really interesting and. I'm happy it did because I think it brought out the best in me.
Oh, that's really interesting to hear that perspective. Rob, when I watched this movie first, I didn't know where it was taking place. I thought it could be like in space on a spaceship, or then later on it was like a futuristic like apartment complex. Like, did you want the viewer to sort of have this ambiguous feeling? Because it's a character. I feel like the location in this is so mysterious and everything where they're at, and there are always only two of them pretty much for the most part, very intimately. What were your thoughts on sort of for the viewer the location of this taking place and maybe the time period because it could be any time technically.
Yeah, very much so. For me, it was really important that we were building a world that felt fresh, that we weren't relying on other movies of sort of making it look like this or that. And I anchored it on this trip that I was on making a documentary in Guangzhou, China. And when I went there, it was just like this otherworldly place, like the mist, the lights, the atmosphere at night. And so I tried to really capture that and also bring it into the apartment. And but really I didn't want people to, feel like it was in the future, because like, could it be now? Is it the
Yeah,
future? And so those elements we intentionally kept vague. But I remember even when we showed up, the Frankie and the others were like, I was like, oh, outside the window is like actually a photo. We ended up using a photo of Hong Kong. They're like, this is in Asia? Like, we had no idea. Kind of as like an
uh-huh.
inside joke amongst ourselves. Like, that's why they're eating Asian food, eating Chinese food in the dinner scene. Um, but really, like, imagination wherever the audience, sees it and takes it, because it really can be anywhere and everywhere. And as we've seen, now it's here.
That's cool. And Frankie, I'm gonna wrap with you. I know you're working on a Malcolm reboot, years later comeback. Anything you can share about that? The excitement factor. I mean, it's been a lot of years. So, are you curious how people are gonna react?
Well, I mean, it's 25 years since the premiere. It's 10 years since we started talking about this reboot. So the fact that it's happening
Wow.
is awesome. I think people are going to love it, just to see where the characters are. That was my biggest thing. I'm like, I just have to know like where Malcolm and his family are. So I think they're gonna love it. I got to see Linwood, the creator, and Ken Kwapis, the director, not too long ago. We were doing chemistry reads, and it was so weird to be back in that world because it just felt so natural. Like it felt like home, So I think it's gonna be great when we get on set finally with everybody and all the cast and crew, and it's gonna be a blast.
Looking forward to it. Hey, you guys knocked it out of the park on this one. Rob, I'm not surprised. Another innovative idea from you. You always come up with something very humanistic, but also set in the craziest of places, when
Well,
you
thank
put
you, Jim.
relationships
Yeah.
together. I love when you do that in film. Awesome job, both of you guys. Frank, I need to see more of you on screen again, and let's do this again sometime.
Sounds
Thanks so
good.
much.
Thank you. See you.